I want to say that the true definition of sin, okay? I think if we can get down to the lingo and definitions of things, of like darkness or evil versus sin, right? Those could all be in the same category. The true definition of sin is the removal or manipulation of free will and choice. Okay. So anytime somebody is a true victim, that means that their free will and choice was removed, like a rape victim truly is a victim there.
Okay.
Okay. That is darkness. That's evil. Okay. But somebody who is maybe two consulting adults doing something that a Christian thinks is evil or against the whatever their religious views are is not, because they are using their free will and choice. And so for the whole world to get unified or to heal would be a desire of manipulation of free will and choice.
Hmm.
Think about that. That would be like
Interesting.
saying that what I believe and what I believe is right and good, like healing and getting in our highest timeline, that I'm right. And that you shouldn't have free will and choice because I know better than you. Not even God himself does that. Think about that. So, when we start to have understanding that we are all electing the lives, we chose our lives before we even got here.
We
If I was
did.
going to be a starving rape victim in Africa, I knew that before I got here. And this isn't your first rodeo. And this is about growth and experience and how many times. So, all of the information is really important, don't you think? For
Yeah.
instance, if you
Yeah.
walked into a 3-part, let's just say you went to a play and there's 3 parts to this play. There's the beginning act, the middle act, and the end act. And you walk in right in the middle and you don't know shit about the beginning and shit about the end. It's going to be kind of confusing. You're going to play catch
Yeah.
up. And then the person next to you is going to tell you what they kind of can give you a quick recap. That's what's happening here in this world. That's the reality of it. Nobody knows where and who they were before they came here to this world. Why they're here, who they were, what their names were, any of this stuff. And then they ask the person next to them to catch them up. And we adopt all of these viewpoints, okay? And then you walk out of the middle of the play. You don't even get to see the end. So that's pretty confusing. That leaves a lot of people feeling desperate. It also makes them feel right because they asked the person next to them and they got all this information, okay? And then this person over here got a lot of information too. So we're all in this, you know, but in the reality is it goes back to our spiritual gifts of can we connect? Can we get truth? Can we seek after these things? And to get people on a higher timeline, the moral of this tangent here is whatever you believe or whatever you're willing to connect to spiritually. If you don't believe in God or spirit realms or anything like that, that's totally okay. I dig it. But if there was, go experiment with them. Go have a verbal conversation with God. Go have a verbal conversation with the spirit guide. Go test them, experiment with them, put them to the test. And if you do that, then you can grow upon it and test information, test truth. And then you can start asking very, very deep questions like, who was I before I came to this world? What was my name? Why am I here? How many times have I done this? And then you can get even deeper than that. How did God become God? And very, very deep things. And then you might even have some face to face encounters. And that's the reality. But nobody goes to the lengths and nobody's asking the right questions. When you start to understand things like that, like how God became God and why we're here, you wouldn't be viewing the world as fucked up anymore. Excuse my language. The world is
Yeah.
perfectly fucked up. And all that is happening is for a reason of growth and experience. And we're all sitting around judging and pointing fingers. thinking that we're right and they're wrong,
Yeah.
but they're having their own experience here. And when we're always like, "Oh, what can we do to save the world or help the world or whatever it is," that's a really low frequency to even be viewing the world that way. That's not helping it at all.